Picture the Buddha. Chances are your mind immediately goes to a very specific, ageless figure, deeply round, completely bald, and beaming with a massive, joyful smile. You've seen hundreds of thousands of these statues. They sit by the registers in restaurants, guard the entrances to local garden centers, and they rest wrapped in plastic on wholesale shelves across the globe. But that iconic figure is not actually the founder of Buddhism. In fact, the historical Buddha was neither heavy nor bald. To figure out how the world's most recognizable religious icon ended up with the wrong identity, we have to track two completely different lives, lived thousands of miles and 1,500 years apart. The world's most famous religious statue is actually the result of a massive historical vacuum that got filled by a local myth. The actual founder of the religion, Gautama Siddhartha, lived and taught in northern India during the 5th and 6th centuries BC. During his lifetime, nobody painted his portrait or carved his likeness. That lack of contemporary documentation created an immense visual blank space, stretching 600 to 700 years after his death. When early artists finally did try to capture his likeness, the results looked very different from the jolly statues we know today. Ancient stone carvings show a deeply serious, unsmiling man with a highly disciplined, austere frame. They relied on an early text collection called the Pali Canon. Rather than providing a realistic human portrait, these texts offered a checklist known as the 32 characteristics of a great man. These ancient script panels detail those attributes, demonstrating the record's complexity. The text reads more like a blueprint for a metaphysical supermodel, detailing an otherworldly figure with incredible traits, like exactly 40 teeth and arms that reach below his knees. Because the official religious texts offered such an alien, almost incomprehensible physical description, everyday worshippers were left without a relatable human figure to connect with. The door was left wide open for someone else. 1,500 years later, in 10th century China, an eccentric, wandering monk named Qietzi walked the dusty roads. Locals gave him the nickname Budai, which translates to hemp sack. He earned this title by constantly carrying a massive cloth bag filled with sweets and small gifts, handing them out to children, much like a Chinese Santa Claus. Budai was everything Gautama Siddhartha was not. He had a large, exposed belly, a completely bald head, and an incredibly wide, infectious smile. As his folklore spread throughout the Asian Middle Ages, his legend grew. The beloved monk evolved from a quirky historical figure into a folk deity representing luck, wealth, and profound personal contentment. Eventually, the affection for Budai grew so strong that local populations began worshipping him as the literal, physical reincarnation of Siddhartha Gautama. The strict meditative austerity of early Buddhism was effectively overwritten from the ground up by a joyful, easily digestible local folk hero. As Chinese culture and Buddhism expanded their global footprint, Budai went along for the ride. His striking, lovable appearance hitchhiked on the religion's outward expansion. Over time, the grassroots legend became fully institutionalized. Budai permanently stuck to the religion's namesake, taking his place at the gates of grand temples worldwide as the famous Laughing Buddha. Even the tradition of rubbing his belly for good fortune is purely a local folk invention. You won't find a single mention of that practice anywhere in official Buddhist doctrine. Siddhartha's history requires deep study of complex philosophy. But Budai, with his bright, smiling stone face, radiates an accessible, everyday joy. People intuitively understood him. The hemp sack monk didn't execute a hostile takeover of the founder's identity. Instead, millions of people organically promoted him because his image provided exactly the kind of warmth they were looking for. The Laughing Buddha endures because when presented with a choice between a cold, unknowable historical reality and a myth that offers pure comfort, they choose the joy every single time.